Good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Ryan with the Fairfax County Police Department, Deputy Chief of Investigations and Operations. And good afternoon, and thank you all for being here today at the Fairfax County Public Safety Headquarters building. I'm pleased to be joined here today by Steve Descano, the Commonwealth Attorney for Fairfax County, as well as members of the Fairfax County Police Department's Organized Crime and Intelligence Bureau. And I have standing over here Captain Ron Manzo, the commander of the Intelligence Division. Early this morning, detectives arrested 45-year-old Jasmine Moawad of Prince William County, Virginia. She was charged with 2 counts of felony larceny by false pretense. She was taken before the magistrate and released on personal recognizance. Mr. Descano will further explain these charges and offer insight as to how his office is supporting this investigation. Mr. Descano.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Ryan. Thank you, everyone, for being here. As Deputy Chief Ryan referenced, earlier today, Fairfax County Police arrested Jasmine Moawad. This arrest was based on probable cause that Ms. Moawad falsely represented herself as an attorney and charged clients for services not rendered. Ms. Moawad is suspected of specifically targeting members of the Latino community and seizing on the vulnerability of community members who may fear immigration consequences should they come forward. Ms. Moawad has been charged with 2 counts of obtaining money or signature on false pretense, a Class 4 felony. Each count comes with a potential sentence of 2 to 10 years and a fine of up to $100,000. Ms. Moawad therefore faces a sentence of up to 20 years and a fine of up to $200,000. This is an ongoing investigation. The reason we are here today is to encourage anyone who has more information about this matter to please come forward. I want to especially make clear to members of our community who may fear or who may feel that they've been ignored by the criminal justice system that we take crimes against them very seriously. As part of my commitment to that, my office has instituted a community trust policy whereby we do not cooperate with ICE on civil immigration enforcement matters. That means if you have relevant information, you do not need to fear ICE or deportation if you come forward. We have no tolerance for individuals who prey on our immigrant neighbors. And we have no tolerance for these individuals who prey on our immigrant neighbors because immigrant neighbors make our community whole. And my office will do everything in its power to safeguard Fairfax County's immigrant communities. I'm now going to turn things back over to Deputy Chief Ryan, who will be telling you more details about the joint investigation and fielding questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Descano. These charges stem from a months-long investigation into allegations that Ms. Moawad and her business, the New Americanos for America Party Incorporated, falsely represented herself as an attorney and collected fees for legal services that she never performed, nor was she ever licensed to perform. Detectives determined that when meeting with unsuspecting clients, Ms. Moawad claimed to be a civil attorney with focus in several areas to include immigration law. It's important to note that this is an active, ongoing investigation, as Mr. Descano just alluded, and detectives believe that additional victims are out there that have yet to come forward. Amongst the victims that have been identified thus far, detectives have determined a pattern that suggests Ms. Moawad targeted racial and ethnic minority community members, and specifically Latino immigrants. Exploiting fear and offering a promise of hope to unsuspecting victims through deceit and misrepresentation will not be tolerated against any member of our community. The Fairfax County Police Department's mission is to serve and safeguard every member of our community, regardless of their residency and immigration status. Detectives are seeking additional victims who paid for services from the Americanos for America Party Incorporated and ask them to call, and I'm going to give you a phone number, 703-802-2750. That's 703-802-2750. Tips can also be submitted anonymously through Crime Solvers by phone 1-866-411-TIPS. That's 1-866-411-8477. and you can do that by text or by web. Tipsters are eligible for cash rewards of $100 to $1,000 if their information leads to an arrest. Now available for questions, as is Mr. Toscano, if there's any questions.
Do you know how much money she collected total?
I'll let Captain Ron Manzo, the commander of the Criminal Intelligence Bureau, answer that question, please.
All right, sir. It's too early to establish how much money she has collected over the time. We suspect it could be upwards tens of thousands of dollars.
There was a previous similar case, I think in 2016, woman portraying herself as a lawyer, and she was charging like $5,000 to get a document that allowed a green card, say. Is it a similar pattern here, do you believe?
It's a similar pattern. Again, it's still under investigation, so we're still establishing a lot of the facts of the case. But it's similar. The charges vary in the amount, depending on what services were being offered.
So do we know about any point she made threats to these alleged clients? She said that she was going to call ICE or federal authorities if they, didn't pay her or didn't continue to work with her or something like that?
So I'm trying to follow your question. Do we know?
Did she make any threats to the client saying she was going to call ICE or anything along
She
those
did.
lines?
She did.
Can you expand on that?
Well, right now, again, it's still under investigation. There were several instances where such threats were made.
How did you guys become aware of, how did you start this investigation?
So we were notified of her behavior, and actually one of the victims had an acquaintance that came forward and contacted the police out of concern for the welfare of the victim.
Can you talk a bit about your search in this case? Did you go to her properties to get documentation? Like how have you looked into her?
So this morning,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're fine.
So this morning, and I want to thank Virginia State Police in Prince William County who assisted us. She does not reside in Fairfax County, although a lot of the transactions occurred in Fairfax County. Her residence was in Prince William County. So they executed the search warrant for us, and we searched her residence, and we obtained some evidence supporting our investigation.
Captain, at this point, do we know how many people were involved, how many victims?
Again, right now we've identified 2. We're aware of about 5, and this is why we're having this news conference, because we suspect there are plenty more out there.
Mr. Toscano, sending out this message and prosecuting this kind of case, this is a real priority for your office now. You want this message to go out loud and clear about vulnerable populations?
This type of crime absolutely is a priority for my office. I think it's very important that all members of the Fairfax County community know that they have a justice system working for them and an elected Commonwealth's attorney who's going to take their issues seriously. And that's why it's so important that we get this message loud and clear out there, because if there are other victims, we want to get justice for those individuals as well.
When you say vulnerable in the community, are you specifically talking about Latinos? The Latino population?
The Latino population is part of the individuals that I referenced when I talk about vulnerable populations, but of course Fairfax County is a wonderfully diverse community that has a number of individuals who, for whatever reason, feel that the justice system has ignored them for too long. Under my administration, we are doing everything that we can to fight that perception, and cases like this showing that we are taking crime seriously regardless of who the victim is or what their immigration status is one step in that direction to show the community that we're working for everyone in the community.
And just to be clear, you said she is out on bond now?
She is out on a personal recognizance bond as we speak right now.
Did she cooperate or have anything to say when she was taken into custody?
That's not a question that I will answer. Ron, if you have information.
Did she cooperate with the investigators?
I can't answer that question right now. We're still, like I said, conducting the investigation, so.
What can you tell us about how she was making contact with her victims? Was she advertising her services? How are those connections?
So that's a great question. And I'm glad you asked it. So she was receiving referrals as well as advertising. She had flyers up in laundromats, restaurants, and whatever for her services, as well as receiving referrals. Some of the cases that we're investigating were initially referrals for her services.
Are you confident she was working alone? There was no other people working with her on this?
I don't have an answer for that. Like I said, it's still under investigation.
Were those people who were giving referrals, like, did they know what she was doing?
Again, I can't answer that. It's still part of the investigation, so I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
What's the police reaction to what this woman was allegedly doing? I mean, this is something that's a crime and it victimizes people. I mean, why invest the resources that you invested in it?
Well, it's. You want to take that, Colonel? Or?
I guess the question I would ask you is how do we not investigate something like this when individuals are being exploited and taken advantage of, who are putting their trust in someone who said they were an attorney and offered them services to help them move forward in life and then turned out to be not true. So we'll do everything we can to investigate crimes as they occur. And this came to our attention and we put the effort and resources into it. And Mr. Descano is right in terms of the most vulnerable. I mean, individuals, all victims are vulnerable to some extent. Some more than others in terms of their status or their situation in society. And it's up to the criminal justice system to step forward and assist when possible.
Did she offer services that she failed to deliver besides practicing without? I mean, did she say, I'm going to get you a green card and then fail to deliver the green card?
That's still part of our investigation. We're looking at what services were offered and to what extent.
Did she have any legal background at all that qualifies her for any parts of what she's?
Not that I'm aware of.
Does she have any previous history of this kind of behavior or any other kind of criminal wrongdoing?
That's still part of our investigation, and so we're looking at that as evidence to support the charges we've made.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys.